I want to talk to you a few minutes today from the book of Matthew, chapter 9, verse 35 through 38. And it says, Jesus went about all the cities and villages, teaching in their synagogues and preaching the gospel of the kingdom and healing every sickness and every disease among the people. But when he saw the multitudes, he was moved with compassion on them, because they fainted and were scattered abroad, as sheep having no shepherd. Then said he unto his disciples, the harvest truly is plenteous, but the labors are few. Pray ye therefore the Lord of the harvest, that he will send forth laborers into his harvest. May God bless him with the reading and hearing of his word. I want to continue this monologue this morning that I started about 2 weeks ago on Christ's present changes thing. And I want to continue to talk about a change is going to come. Yes. A change is coming. A change is coming. Thank you. You may be seated, Ursula. I've been around the church a long time. And to be quite honest about it, sometimes it just looks like and feels like it ain't no good thing coming out of the way. I learned about black folk. We go to church more than anybody in town. We sing and shout, and we carry on. But sometimes it looks like ain't nothing happening in our lives. As a matter of fact, things, to be quite honest about it, since 1964, 65, the mid-60s, things have gotten worse for us instead of getting better. Last time I looked, we got a church on every corner. I mean, you can breeze churches in South Dallas. And I'm including us in that. Sometimes, even as I pastor this church, sometimes I wonder, is it worth it? As I look and work with the people and labor week after week, praying and preaching and teaching and counseling and whatever it else it takes to try to bring about change, sometimes I really wonder, what's the use? But then again, I go and I look at the text. And I found out a few things just by reading the Bible on a regular basis, that God's church will prevail. Even though the gates of hell shall come against it. Even though we stumble along and look like we're fed and look like we're not going anywhere, we are going somewhere. And I just want to say that it has been reaffirmed in my heart that a change is on its way. And thank be to God that we, the people of God, those of us who are willing to persevere and stay the course, we are the one that's going to be the recipient of that change. Isn't that good news? Today is no different than it was 2,000 years ago. If Jesus was here today, he would walk out this building on a cold winter morning, and rather than just find the people gathered on the mountainside, he'd find them gathered around the barrel. I wish I had somebody. If he walked outside, rather than them being gathered down on somewhere down on the Jordan Valley, they'd be down on the corner of Bath Street. That's where he will find the people. I guarantee you this morning that there are more people milling around up and down the streets in South Dallas than there are in churches all over this community. Though we have multitudes of churches everywhere, the Bible has something to say about that. You ever ask yourself why? Why do we continue to struggle? And sometimes I believe that we continue to struggle as a people because we don't know what the problem is.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sometimes we really don't know. And sometimes some of us preachers are afraid to tell you what the problem is. Because we're afraid that you're going to go off and ain't going to come back. Huh? That's the wrong reason to have a church. As a matter of fact, my goal this morning is to get all the saints to come closer, get all the sinners to repent and to come in, and if you're not going to come in, to get out. That's my goal. I don't have a goal here to pacify people who are on a path of destruction. My goal is not to help you and to comfort you as you journey on your way to hell. That's not my goal this morning. That's not this church's goal. This church's goal is to help you to find life and to experience life on an abundant level. That's why we're here. That's why we come and we gather so we can encourage one another, so we can be a better people. I see something in our text here today that's amazing to me. The text says, Jesus went about all the cities and villages, teaching in their synagogue and preaching the gospel of the kingdom and healing every sickness and every disease among the people. That seems like change to me.
Yeah.
That means that no matter what's wrong with us, when Jesus shows up, something changes.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's in your body or in your relationship.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's in your bank account. When Jesus shows up in your situation, something's going to happen. But listen to me. But when he saw the multitude, even though good thing was happening over here, the crowd over here was not benefited. There's two different groups of people here. He said he went through the villages and the cities preaching and teaching and healing all the diseases. But when he saw the other folk, there wasn't nothing good happening for them. He said, but he was moved with compassion on them. Why? Because they fainted and they were scattered abroad as sheep having no shepherd. Then said he unto his disciples, the harvest truly is plenteous, but the laborers are few. Pray ye therefore the Lord of the harvest that he will send forth laborers into his harvest. As it was then, 2,000 years ago, a little better than 2,000 years ago, nothing seemed to be working for the people who were marginalized people in that community. Nothing was working. Everybody else was prospering. Everybody could come and they were getting their needs met. But here was a specific crowd of people over on the south. Multitudes, plural, meaning many people groups who were still hurting, although another portion of the community was prospering, like it is in Dallas. There's many parts of Dallas that is thriving right now. Many parts of the United States is thriving, but there are particular and specific groups of people in every community whose needs are not being met.
Yeah. You're right.
And sometimes we don't, and most of the time, most of us don't even ask why. So nothing seems to be working for the African American community. Everything that makes a community functional and viable is failing South Dallas and other urban communities across this land. For instance, what is it? What are the activities that we are involved in that ought to be helping us and advancing our cause. No different here than any other community. For instance, what about our economy? We're the brokest people in the nation. And the money that we do get, we don't know what to do with it. I wish I had somebody. Is anybody in this auditorium today tell me that this economy is benefiting black folks across this land? I will say you are walking, you are sleepwalking. The economy, listen to me. We don't even have, most of us, if we didn't have somebody to give us a job, we wouldn't have a job to go on. We as a people have not developed an economy to help to sustain and support ourselves. So, and then what we get, we're the last hired and the first fired. So much instability is sometimes it's difficult for us to even plan what we want to try to do because we don't even know tomorrow we're going to have a job. And particularly those of us who live in these urban communities who have to have these low-paying jobs. Not only are they low-paying, but they're unstable. I wish I had somebody. Want to pay you less than minimum wages and then want you to beg for that. I wish I had somebody. Education failing us tremendously. I was reading a report the other day and they said the average kid that leaves an urban community and go to college reading on an 8th grade level and many of them on a 4th grade level. The average kid that leave our community has to have remediation because our public schools has not prepared them to compete out there in the academic world. Education is failing us, and even those of us who get degrees, it does not lead us to careers, stable careers where we can make the kind of money that people from other communities make. I have friends, matter of fact, a black man with a PhD is on his way to the unemployment line. I got friends right now who have worked hard, earned their doctorate degree, but it takes them 3, 4, 5 years before they can even land a job. Education is failing us in our community. And then most of us, we have too many of our young people that drop out of school. Too many of our homes does not promote education anymore. Literacy and the like. Our religion is so impotent today. People come to this church and churches all over this community, weak and incompetent, and leave here weak and incompetent. We might as well own it today, people. The church is failing us as a people. And if we can't come and get our problems worked out and get some kind of connection with the living God who has all power in his hand, what good is the church? What good is the church if we stay lost and never get saved? What good is it? It's failing us. misleading us and misguiding us. And really and truly, most of us come to church just to get a quick fix. So much misery in our lives, and we want somebody to come to the pulpit to help us to get an emotional high for a few minutes, and then we leave here not being a better people. So our religion is failing us. Look at it, for instance. We have a church on almost every corner, but our families are falling apart. Our morality is the lowest it has ever been in the history of black folk. And the church is supposed to be a moral institution. The church, it should be the light of the world and the salt of the earth. When you start to go into church, you stop doing some of that other stuff you used to do. I wish I had somebody. Family is failing. Matter of fact, we can't keep our families together. I've been laboring for a long time around here, trying to work on healing the hurt and brokenness in our families. And it seems like the more we work, the crazier we get. I'm not talking about churches down the street. I'm not talking about New Mount Moriah. I'm not talking about Willow Grove. I'm not talking about First Baptist. I'm talking about where our pastor. Me and husband don't act right. Wives don't act right. And all our children messed up. I wish I had somebody. This thing is unraveling, but I want to stop to tell you today that a change is coming. The law is not our friends. Politics is not helping us. I wish I had somebody. We got black president sitting in the office today. Great man, I love him. But ain't too much change for black folk. Too much change for black folk economically. Not too much change for black folk from a legal, political point of view. Not too much change academically and educationally. Our families have changed. It doesn't matter who sits in the White House. The system still rolls on. Now let me drop a bomb on you right quick. Then I'm going to move on. I want you to think about this. We're going to preach about it later, but I want you to think about it today. You see, the sin, the one thing that got us crippled in our community today is that we don't understand what it is that got us crippled and keep us standing around the barrel. And the education system keeps failing us. And the economy keeps failing us. And our families keep disintegrating. So you remember, if you know a little history, when we first came into this country, one of the first things that the master did was break up the household. Tore the families up. Don't you see that the families are still unraveling? I got a report the other day that came across my desk that disturbed me. And I got a report that came across my desk that 95% of the family, of the household, the children in the 75215 zip code and the 75210 zip code are being raised by only one of their parents. That disturbed me. I took it to my pastor's meeting, and I brought it to the attention of the pastor's meeting, like I'm saying to you. And it was just like, didn't faze anybody. Just like the first time I mentioned it to you, it didn't faze you. Because we've been socialized to accept our failure. We've been socialized to believe that a strong, stable family in a black community is out of the ordinary. That's what we've come to believe. When they came here, we came into this country. We came here and we labored and wasn't paid a dime. And most of us in here working today, we have to work. We just get by on whatever we earn. This system pays us the very least that they can pay us and get away with it. When we first came to this country, it was against the law to educate a black man or woman. If you want to get hung or go to school, you teach your brother how to read. I wish I had somebody. When we first came to this country, we had no power to make any decisions politically or legally on any level that affected our lives, our family, and our community. And as it was then, so it is now. And to make a long story short, then I'm going to tell you what I came to talk to you about. Our problem is not so much adultery and fornication and drunk. Man, if I stayed under, if I didn't have some sense and operate under all the pressure that black folks had done, I'd stay drunk too. If I didn't know the truth about the situation, I would be the biggest dope smoker in South Dallas. And sometimes we do crazy stuff so we can ease the pain. Sometimes we eat too much because that's the only good thing we got going in our lives. Sometimes we misabuse sex because sex feels good. There's nothing else comes. And so we mishandle that so I can have at least a moment so I can feel good. I wish I had somebody. Yeah, dope gonna sell real good in South Dallas and in all other urban communities until we get some relief. Because it eases our pain. You don't have to deal with reality. Like when last time I went to the hospital and I was physically hurting, you know what them doctors did to me? They doped me up. And I couldn't feel the pain. And they went to work on me. They started cutting and everything else. And I'm laying there like nothing was happening. That's the way it is on these streets out here. A Negro get full of that dope, and I don't care what's going on, like ain't nothing happening. That's what we are. Oh, I was going to tell you what the problem was, isn't it? And until you get this, I'm not telling you this so you can be mean-spirited or hateful, because that's not what we don't have time to seek revenge. We got to do something to help our families. We got to advance the cause of Christ. But the real problem in America is racism and white supremacy. That's the sin that we are afraid to tackle. That's the sin of the 21st century. W.B. Du Bois said in 1903, the problem in America from 1903 going forward will be along color line. He prophesied that in 1903. And here we are in 2014, still being subjected to the same pressures and problems. If you think I'm lying, you ain't got to believe me. Just look around the world. And everywhere there are people of color are catching hell everywhere. I don't care if they're in Africa, I don't care if they're in South America, I don't care if they're in Europe, I don't care if they're in the United States of America, I don't care if they're in South Dallas, I don't care if they're in Mississippi, I don't care if they're in Detroit, Michigan. Black folks everywhere are catching hell. And it ain't by chance either. It's not because I don't know about y'all, but I'm an intelligent man. And you are too. I told you last week ain't nothing wrong with you.
That's right.
And I mean that. And I'm going to keep saying it until you start to believe it. And now some of you already believe it. I know Adrian believed it. Y'all don't hear me? Adrian believed it, because Adrian declared it publicly. There ain't nothing wrong with me. How old is Adrian? She's 2 years old. Well, see, I can preach to people like Adrian, but it's hard for me to preach to old Negro. That's the problem with our community. We're locked in to our craziness. And so everything that we have around us, all the people activity, failing us. And you got to get this picture in your mind. If somebody said to me the other day, said, E.D. Charles, you're never going to correct your situation until you find out what the problem is. And be willing to face the problem. And then once you know what the problem is, then you can face it. Look what the Bible said. The Bible said, heal the multitude of people. And look what they did. You can always, if you look at the problem close enough, the problem carries the answer with it. I wish I had somebody. In other words, let's flip it around. If you discover what a man's strength is, you can tell him what his weakness is. Because his weakness is the flip side of his strength. Black folk. Black folks' strength. We are so trusting. We let everybody into our home. We let people into our community. Go all the way back to Africa. See, when them Africans, you know what they did? They trusted those explorers. They thought those explorers were their friends. But when the explorers got in there, the explorers took everything they had. See, our strength is our ability to trust and accept people. We got the most open community of any people. If anybody tell you that black folks are not good people and kind people just by nature, they walking blind too. It's not true. It's just simply it's not true. I'm taking you an example. You can go anywhere you want to go in South Dallas. You can walk up and down the streets, all over the street. Anybody, white folks, Spanish folks, Asian, everybody in this community can go up and down this street. But let me tell you what happened to me. I ain't talking about what happened to other folks. I was over in Highland Park one evening just after dark, and I'm walking down the street, and here come the police with his lights on, cut his car in front of me. What are you doing in this community? But I guarantee you, anybody, don't care what his skin color is, he can drive up and down these streets any time of night or day in South Dallas, do whatever he want to do, knock on anybody's door, and nobody's going to challenge them. Because that's the kind of people we are. We are trusting people. As a matter of fact, I ain't been pulled over 4 times by policemen in Dallas, and 2 times I was walking. Isn't that bad? And both times I was confronted with this issue. What are you doing in this community? Do you hear what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And by the way, and that's why when my boys was coming up, my wife and I always had a little bit of stress in my life when they were away from home. But I wasn't so much afraid of what people going to do to them. I was afraid of what the police going to do to them. And so my friends, listen to me. Things may look bad for us, but the change is coming. What do we glean from Jesus that can help us to help ourselves? Does anybody want to know? From Jesus, we learn the value of being industrious. Look what Jesus said. The book says Jesus went about. He moved among the people that he was concerned about. And not only did he move among them, Brother Rob, he had some specific activities that he brought to them. We're not going to help our people. We're not going to help one another until we make a choice that in spite of their condition, in spite of their hurt, in spite of their pain, in spite of their habit, we got to walk among them. And then when we get there, then we're going to have to minister to them and service them with a goal of helping them to get out of the predicament that they're in. And so what did Jesus do? And I'm just about finished here today. Jesus did three things when he walked among the people. He taught them. You see, what's killing us today, we don't know.
Come on now.
What's killing us, we got the wrong information. And we're not going to be able to teach anybody until we learn something. We are the people, we don't have time to waste anymore sitting around shucking and jiving. We are people, we must become reflective. We must become thinking people. We must become a people who care about our people. So Jesus, what did he do? Jesus walked among the people and he taught them. Why was he teaching them? So he could straighten out the way that they think. Because Jesus knows and has taught me that as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And if you're going to change anything, you must first change what people believe and what they think. And the best way to do that, you got to become a teacher. You hadn't changed anything in your life just because you changed it because you changed what you was thinking. Let me give you a little crude example. In my profession, I'm certified in reality therapy. And Dr. Glasser taught us a very important lesson about life. Dr. Glasser taught us, he said, I want y'all to always be mindful of this. Talk about relationship. If a man have a wife, have a girlfriend, whatever, and they have this relationship going, and she take him out of her quality world, meaning when she remove him out of her mind, what she think, and set him to a side, the relationship is over. Yeah. This is what's going to happen. Every time your woman walk out on you, or your man walk out on you, I guarantee you he's taking you out of his thinking. And when he removes you out of his quality world, it's over. So I don't care how you get your gun and try, that's when you have to kill them. Because they keep trying to get farther away from you, and you trying to make them stay there. And what you're doing, you're starting on the wrong end. So what you got to do, you got to get them to change what they think about you. And when they change what they think about you, put you back in their quality world, and then they're going to come back home. It's all about think. It's about what you 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 believe. Get your thoughts right and you'll change your life. That's why Jesus put so much emphasis on us knowing the truth. It's about knowing, people. That's why I spend my time thinking about what I want in life rather than what I don't want. Preacher friend of mine, I went to the meeting the other morning. I got out of my car, was on my way to the auditorium where we have our meeting. I said, "How you doing, brother preacher?" He said, I'm not feeling well today." So my comment to him was, "Okay," I said, "I hear what you're saying, brother." I said, "Well, let me give you a piece of advice." I said, "A lot of days I don't feel physically good, but I always focus on how I want to feel. And it helps me to get through those bad moments faster, quicker. And next thing you know, I'm chipper. I'm skipping and I'm smiling. I'm moving because I'm focusing on what I want rather than what I don't want." Now let me press that a little bit further. All of you people ain't got no money, ain't had none in a long time. Stop focusing on your pocket being empty and start focusing on a full pocket. And after a while, the universe itself has to open up and make a way so you can have the money in your pocket. That's the way life works. All y'all got these health problems around here. You need to start thinking about being healthy rather than cherishing being sick. Oh yeah, you're going to have some infirmities in your body. This thing going to hurt once in a while, but you need to start to focusing on what you want. Man, I got bogged down here and I need to move on. Listen to me. So let me tell you what. The problem was, the reason why the people was having so much problem and Jesus had to teach them is focus on the problem. The problem was that they fainted, right? The problem was that they were scattered, right? And the problem was that they was moving like sheep without a shepherd. So let me flip that over so we can find a solution to this problem. They fainted, carried with the idea, a sense of a lack of consciousness.
Talk about.
You hear what I just said? Anybody ever fainted? What did you know while you was fainting? Nothing. So what's the solution then? Wake up! Let's get some consciousness here. Most of us, the people that are standing around the barrel, the people that stay anesthetized through alcohol and drugs and all this other stuff, is a state of unconsciousness.
Yes, sir.
So what's the solution? Let's wake up and get up out of this state of unconsciousness so we can feel and experience life. So we're sleepwalking. Other side of the problem, scattered. We got to come together. One thing you can depend upon in the black community is division, warring and fighting against one another. House niggas and field niggas and all that kind of stuff. Always has been, and that's part of the structure to keep us. So how do you get together? You got to have a coming together. And this is for black men here. You got to have a leader. Walking and stumbling around like sheep without a shepherd. There it is. There it is. There it is right there, folks.
Yes, sir.
We ain't got no leadership in our homes. homes are falling apart. No leadership in our schools, schools are falling apart. No leadership in our churches are falling apart. We're scattered like sheep without a shepherd. We need somebody to help us to get from where we are to where we're going. Now, let me tell you how crazy we are. Amos Wilson said black folk got to be crazy to put up with the mess that they put up with. Huh? Listen to me. Here we are in 2014. I'm sure what you black folks are doing. I can't keep members in my church because they leave my church going to the white folks' church. That's okay, go on. That's your business. Because I already recognize that the way of righteousness is narrow and straight.
That's what the book says.
And they're going over there, and they're joining with the people at First Baptist and all the rest of these institutions that's trying to keep you from getting health care. And y'all know you ain't got no money to buy this high-priced insurance. And these people down there, they work, these evangelicals all over this country are the first one to take a stand against anything that looks like justice, and are flocking to them by the thousands. And what we need to be doing is calling them to repentance, rather than joining with them to help to cripple our people. And by the way, and I'm an honest man. Part of the problem with America, the church, institutional church, has always been complicit. In other words, slavery never would have been institutionalized if the church hadn't come over and said it's okay.
That's what you're saying.
So y'all didn't know that because you don't read the history. You see, it was the church that said it's okay for you all to, good Portuguese people and good Spaniard people, y'all good fine Catholic people, it's okay for you. I'm going to you take the west side and you take the east side of Africa, and then you can go and civilize all of them black folks and then exploit and take all the resources back to your homeland. It's okay. That happened when the Catholic Church endorsed it and said it's okay. It's okay. It's okay for you to baptize black folk because it does not change their status as citizens of this country. That's the only time white folks started baptizing black folks in the church is when they discovered that they still can keep them as their slaves. And that's why black folks went into the brush harbor and said, this ain't working right here. So we got to find and connect with this Jesus that came to set the captives free. We can't read it, but we heard him read it somewhere. That the Spirit of the Lord is upon me because He's anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor, sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to give sight to the blind, and to set the captives free. The black folk heard that. That's why Richard Allen started the first organized black church in this country.
That's right. That's right. Come on now.
Because the white folks wouldn't let him pray at his altar. They came and kneeled down at the altar to pray, and the deacon said, "Get up from there, you can't pray here."
Come on. Teach us,
and Richard Allen got his crew in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and said, "Y'all come on." And all the black folk walked out, and they went and started the AME church. I wish I had somebody. Huh? And sometimes we don't know what we're getting into because we don't read nothing. Ain't nothing wrong with Jesus. It's wrong with how we preach him and how we have tried to colonize him for ourselves. He's still Savior of the world. So Jesus taught us how to be industrious. He taught us that in order to help your people, you got to teach them. You got to preach to them so you can call them to a new lifestyle. And then you got to heal them so you can correct their condition. But I see more than that. And I'm going to stop on this. We learn to be empathetic. I wish I had somebody. You know what that means? That means that you identify with the pains of other people. Huh? You don't run off and leave them because you got your education. You don't run off and leave them because you got a few dollars in the bank and you got your house no paid. You don't run off and leave them because your child is a good athlete and they can function over in somebody else's school, but they don't want mine because my boy can't play basketball. My boy don't play football. My boy is not a tennis player. They don't want him in the school, but they want yours. I wish I had somebody. We identify with the pain of the people. What Jesus said, look at this text. But when he saw the multitude, he was moved with compassion. And somebody asked me, said, Charles, why do you stay down in South Dallas and you could go somewhere else? I said, well, a couple of reasons. Number one is that because God called me. But out of my personal experience, because I know what it means to be poor and not to have. I know what it means to have to go to school with no shoes on your feet. I know what it means to have to eat syrup, bread, and meat every day of the week. I know what it means that when you get through eating syrup, bread, and meat, it's beans, bread, and rice, beans, and bread. I know what it means not to have. I wish I had somebody. I know what it means not to have but one pair of blue jeans to wear, and when you come home, you have to wash them every evening, and after about 3 or 4 months, they're so thin they can't block the air from blowing. So I know what it means not to have. And then my third reason is because I feel the pain of the people that I walk in the midst of. I feel the pain of these young mothers trying to take care of their babies by themselves. I feel the pain of a mother and a father whose young boy is locked up in jail for no reason at all. I feel the pain of the people when I see the policeman pull over our children on the street corner just because. I know what I'm talking about here today. And so my mission is to stay as long as I can and to wake up as many people as I possibly can. And I want you to know today, in our community, people are fainting. And people are scattered, and sheep having no shepherd. You hear what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Now, we may or we may not have compassion on the people, but Jesus does. I wish I had somebody.
Yes, sir.
And if we are people without compassion on those who are standing on the outside looking in, I wish I had somebody. Those who are not in the mainstream. Those people who have been disenfranchised. Those people who have been dehumanized. Those people who have been demonized. Those who are being marginalized. If we cannot have compassion and do not have compassion for them, it says more about our relationship with Jesus than it does about the people who are standing out there looking in. I wish I had somebody. Simple logic ought to tell us something here today. If Christ is in us and Christ is concerned about the least among us, and then simple logic ought to tell us that we too ought to be concerned about the least among us. I heard my Bible that teaches us that the Spirit of God is present in our lives. Why? So we can do the things that Jesus did. The Bible teaches us clearly and emphatically. Jesus said, and I quote, "Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me, the works that I do, shall he do also. And greater works than these he shall do, because I go away to my Father, and when he goes to the Father, he sends up his Spirit, and his Spirit comes to live in us so we can do his kind of stuff. I wish I had somebody. Jesus said, if you love me, I want you to keep my commandments. I wish I had somebody. He said, I will pray the Father, and he will give you another comforter, that he may abide with you for how long? Forever. He'll never leave you, or neither will he forsake you. He'll walk with you through good times and bad times. He'll go with you up the rough side of the mountain. He'll go with you down to the valley of the shadow of death. God will stay with you. God will help you. God will give you the power to do his will, and he'll do it right now. Not tomorrow. Tomorrow is too late. Our people need us today. They need us right now. They need us at this moment. Lest I keep you longer than I want to. Last thing I want to say to you is that at the end of the day, we learn from Jesus not only to be industrious, not only to be empathetic, but we learn to be proactive. You know what Jesus when the book said when he saw the multitude, he was moved with compassion. And he said, he gave the reason why, because they fainted. And they were scattered. And they wandered around without leadership. He took action. He said, pray. You pray. Pray that the Lord of the harvest will send forth laborers into his harvest. Why was that necessary? He said it's necessary because the harvest is plenty. Many people out there who are hurting today. But there are only a few that's available to do anything. As a matter of fact, we got to pray because if my guess is correct and my theology is right, you all are stuck to these seats. You ain't going nowhere. And this is what's going to have to happen. And this is what the word means, Brother David. He said, pray that the Lord will send forth labor. And that word in send forth means in the Greek, grab them, get up, throw them out there. And only God can thrust us forth into the harvest. Because we're too scared to get up and move on our own. And if we go, God will have to kick us out of our seat and get us to move. And so he says, pray. Pray. Be proactive. Get up. Take some action. Don't be reactionary. Be proactive. Recognize that something needs to be done and get up and do it. And God will get all the praise. And God will get all the glory. I wish I had some more time. But I told myself this morning at 11:15 I was going to be finished, and it's 11:30 and I quit. Amen. Let's give God some praise up in here. Ain't our God good? And the Bible says that you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Now, this is what I've been taught. We don't learn the truth so you can go around hurting folks. You learn the truth so that you can get about living your life free, in freedom. Now, this is what I want you guys to do, and then we're going to pray. I want you guys to respect your enemy. They don't respect you, but I want you to respect them. I want you to honor them. And then I want you to tell them the truth. As God gives you opportunity. I want you to do the same thing. Listen, we're going to start this movement, but we're starting at home.
Yes, sir.
And this is what I want to encourage you to do today. You may be standing around the barrel, but you can respect yourself and your fellow barrel people.
Yes, sir.
You got to respect people. And respecting people start with yourself. Now, this is what I'm going to encourage you to do. The church, doors of the church, we'll come to the altar, we're going to pray in a minute. Young people, we're in trouble. Parents, I want you to help me with this. I want you to help your children and give them the things. Help them to have a nice social life, allow them to have a social life. But I want you to start to pulling back on this stuff that destroys our children.
Yes, sir.
I want you to start drawing back. I want you to sit your children down. Don't just snatch and take it from them. Take it from them and tell them why.
Yes, sir.
Sit down and talk to them. You're not going to listen to Snoop Dogg calling all the women in our communities to B's and H's and calling all our young men thugs and dogs and hogs and gangsters. All of that is simple disrespect. We're the only group of people in these United States of America that stand and intentionally disrespect ourselves. Now you say something about a Jew now. You got a war on your hands. Call a Jew out of his name. Because, see, the Jews still remember the Holocaust.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The Jews lost 6 million of their people in that German Holocaust under Hitler's regime. And they said never again.
Yes, sir.
They said never going to happen to us again because we're going to teach our young people what it was that brought us down. Look how crazy we are. We lost 100 million in the Middle Passage. And we still are not concerned about our own demise. And 100 million people is a lot more than 6 million. We're not going to put down the fact that they lost 6 million, but we lost 100 million black folk in the Atlantic slave trade.
Come on, Pastor.
And here we are still sitting there calling one another crazy names, disrespecting and dishonoring one another, and saying ourselves what the white folk tell us to say about ourselves. And they're telling us to say it because they're the one financing all that crazy stuff that we're buying. You go out there and try to get a good person to sing some good stuff, I guarantee you he's not going to be able to get it marketed.
You know you're right.
I know what I'm talking about. And all I'm trying to do is tell you the truth. So now what we're going to do, I want you guys to start to respecting yourself, honor yourself, and speak the truth to yourself. And what you do for yourself, do it for other folks.
Yes, sir.
Would you do that? That's my challenge today because we got a lot of people that are standing around the barrel out there. And we need to present ourselves. And we need to honor those people. I go out on Bath Street today. I go down Martin Luther King. I go down to the shelter. And I see God in all those people that's out there hurting. Some of them laying out there on the street, dressed out drunk. But I don't care what you say, there's God still right there with us.
That's right, Pastor.
They still created the image of God. They are no less of a person than you and I are. And we start to honoring them and become empathetic and become proactive. What? Many of them are going to follow you where you're going. Because people want better for their lives.
That's right, Pastor.
They don't know how to get it sometimes, but they want better. Come now, let's pray. Come to tell you what you do. Come on, pray, Saint. That's that last. Come on, Andre. I want you to lead us in that song, the last song y'all sung. And those of you who want to pray with us today, I'm going to ask you to come meet us here.